Hello, 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 hello. All right, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Okay, so, hey, beautiful souls. Thank you for joining me today. Today, we're talking about the money spiral. You know, those moments when a client doesn't sign, or you put an offer out and you get crickets, or you get an unexpected bill and all of a sudden you're nauseous and you alternate between being certain you're going to die alone in a cardboard box and trying to figure it all out, how to get more, what to do, pushing, right? In those moments, my guess is you would say that you have a money flow problem, like there just isn't enough coming in, and that you need to figure out how to get more money to come in, that would be the way to stop that money spiral. But I would say you don't have a money flow problem. You have a moment that you keep handling the same way over and over and over again. And that moment is the reason that your income isn't as stable as you'd like it to be. The powerful moment, the moment that allows you to change your money flow into what you want, isn't when the money isn't coming in. I think that's a double negative, right? So it's not about the flow itself. The powerful moment of transformation of what into what you want isn't about the money not coming in. The powerful moment is when you notice that the money isn't coming in. That's the moment everything about your money can change. So let me give you a few examples. Let's say that you go into your banking app and you check your account and you don't like what you see. Maybe a client doesn't sign, or a payment that you were expecting doesn't come through. Something big is due in a couple of months. Maybe it's taxes. Maybe it's a loan repayment. Right? There's something big due in a couple of months, and you just don't have it in your account. Within seconds, you've made it mean something. I'm behind. I'm doing something wrong. This isn't working. I need to fix this. What am I going to do? I wonder what I could do. I need to do something. And from that moment on, you're no longer in a relationship with money. You're in a relationship with fear. You're no longer the leader of your money relationship. You are now chasing from a position of lack, of fear, of worry. And here's the part that the manifestation world doesn't say clearly enough. And that is, it's not about the fact that you're losing money in those moments. You're losing yourself. The second you go into fixing or controlling or figuring something out or grasping, you have left the version of you who actually knows how to create money. You've left the version of you who knows how to be in relationship with money. You have left the version of you who knows that they are a divine being with access to divine resources. You have left the version of you who is working with the God goo in a way that supports what you want. Usually, what most people do to fix the spiral, because you know it's not what you want. Number one, it doesn't feel good. Number two, you know from your understanding of universal law, you know from manifestation, that you don't want to feel fear. right? You want to feel abundant. So there's a part of you that understands that what you're feeling isn't going to get you toward what you want. But most of us don't go with fixing that internal feeling. We try to fix the external, create more strategy, have more effort, have more doing. But remember, the money spiral, that negative spiral that leaves you feeling distraught, isn't about the strategy. It didn't start with what you didn't do. More double negatives, right? But all of this started when you assigned a meaning to the experience you were having. So if you want to stop the money spiral, you have to learn how to stay with yourself in the very moment that you feel like leaving. And let's be clear about what I mean by that. Right? When you see the number in your bank account, or you see the number you don't like on your sales report, or you open up that bill and your body tightens, or your stomach knots up, or your heart drops to the floor, and your brain wants to jump into action, remember, you don't immediately go into fixing. You don't override it. You don't jump into action to make it go away. You stay in that moment. It's a simple answer, but it's not easy. Because what you're doing in that moment is you're sitting in the discomfort without turning it into a problem about you. Right? So let me give you another example. Let's say that you're having a really slow business week. There's nothing happening. There's no sales. There's no new clients. Maybe you're doing discovery sessions and nobody is listening, or nobody is accepting. Nobody's saying, yes, I'd like to work with you. The old pattern in your mind is to go, something's wrong. I need to fix this. I need to change something. What's going on? What's wrong? And then all of a sudden you're rewriting offers, you're changing your messaging, you're pushing harder, you're trying to force movement forward. But none of that is coming from clarity. It's coming completely from disconnection. The shift to make is this: you notice the same situation, but you don't leave yourself. You feel the discomfort, you feel the uncertainty, but you don't make it mean I'm failing. The spiral isn't caused by the circumstance itself, right? The spiral isn't really about the bank account. It's not really about the number on the sales page. That downward spiral happens when you abandon yourself, when the circumstance doesn't match what you want. Money doesn't stabilize because you get better at strategy. It stabilizes when you stop leaving yourself every time it feels uncertain. And quite honestly, that's the work that most people don't end up doing, maybe even avoid. It doesn't feel particularly productive, right? Just to sit in that discomfort. Why is that productive? It just feels like pain. But it's the thing that changes everything. Okay. So the question becomes, how do you actually stay with yourself in that moment? I'm not talking about white knuckling it. I'm not talking about pretending you feel okay when you don't. I'm talking about providing yourself real support in the moment that everything in you wants to just leave. So let me give you some solutions here. The first way that I want to share with you about how to stay in that moment is you have to know what actually supports you. One of the ways that I do this personally and with my clients is through your soul money languages. The soul money languages are core energies of the divine that are here to support us. Each of us have 3 unique languages that support us in our money relationship. And when you know your soul money languages, you know you're not alone in that moment. You also get a different viewpoint. When you're able to connect with those languages, you get a different viewpoint of what's actually going on. Right? So instead of going into panic, you can actually lean into the support that's already yours. The second piece, and maybe this should have been the first piece, but those soul money languages are so fundamental that I wanted to mention them first. You have to know what to do with the discomfort when it shows up in your body. The spiral isn't just mental, it's not just what you're thinking, it's energetic, it's emotional, it's physical. And you have to know how to move that energy, because if you don't know how to move that energy, you're going to act from it. So if you don't understand how to clear fear or worry or anxiety or nervousness or the physical sensations, if you don't know how to shift that ache in your belly or the panic in your chest, you're going to act from there. So you're going to act from that place of disconnection. You're going to try to bring strategy in, whether that strategy is coming up with a brand new program or rewriting your website, or maybe it's going up and turning on Netflix and not turning it off for 3 days. Okay, nothing wrong with that. It's just not particularly productive in you getting what you want. Right? So this is the space where I love to use tapping. Tapping, EFT, emotional freedom technique, is an amazing body-based tool that allows you to literally release those emotions. It lets you clear them out of your body. It lets you come back into connection with all parts of you. Right? And so again, the tapping isn't to fix money, but to stay with yourself while that discomfort is happening. So you're not leaving the moment. You're moving through it without abandoning yourself inside of it. When you do that, now you have access to all kinds of wisdom and clarity. Okay. All right. So the third piece of how to not abandon yourself when that money spiral starts is to have an even deeper understanding of what's happening here. Because if you don't, every moment of uncertainty is going to feel like failure. One of the core truths that I work with is this: for every problem, the solution already exists. Right? This is built off a universal law that says for everything that is created, its equal and opposite is also created. So for every problem, the solution already exists. When you feel lack, you're not off track. You're simply in the presence of polarity. But if you collapse into the problem, you lose access to the solution. If you collapse into fear or worry or anxiety or panic or numbness, you are smack dab in the middle of the problem. You're in what I say is the energy of the problem. You cannot find solution when you are in problem energy. Right? So when you understand that, it gives you a new reason to learn how to work with that fear and the worry and the anxiety and the panic. Okay? Instead of using those emotions to fuel action steps, you want to work with tapping or with your money languages to help you through that moment. Because when you do that, the solution comes forward. Because listen, it's not that you don't want to take action. It's not that you don't want to look at your messaging or your website or your offers, right? But you want to do that action from a place of clarity. You want to do that from a place of connection. You want to do that from a place of being solution oriented. Otherwise, you're just going to recreate that money spiral over and over and over again. Okay? All right. The fourth piece that you can look at in order to stop that money spiral, in order to stay present in that moment, is you have to build a different relationship with the divine. It's easy to have a relationship with the divine when everything is going well. But you want to have a relationship with the divine that is present and holds steady even when it looks like nothing is working. Staying in that moment when everything in your being is screaming for you to step into worry or fear or to try to out action that fear and worry, that is an act of trust. Okay. Looking at soul money languages, looking at your personal soul languages are all ways to help to deepen that relationship with the divine. And finally, actually, before we do that, excuse me for just a second. Excuse me. Allergies are real this time of year. Yes. Okay. So finally, you have to understand that money is a relationship. That relationship is between you, the physical resource of money, and the divine. What happens in the spiral is that the relationship breaks. You stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting money. You stop trusting your divine. When there's no trust, you can't have relationship. Right? So staying in the moment is how you repair that relationship in real time. So when I say you get to stop the money spiral, I don't mean fix your circumstances. I mean stay in relationship with yourself, with money, and with the divine. And you're going to do that in the exact moment you feel like it's all falling apart. When you're able to do that, you become someone who can stay in abundance. You are someone who stays as the leader of their money relationship. You're someone who gets to play with the God goo in a way that brings you what you want. Right? So if you want consistent money, then you want to become someone who can stay in body, stay in relationship with the divine when nothing looks like it's working. Right? This isn't about fixing or rushing or panicking. It's about staying in the moment. Because the version of you who creates stable, consistent money flow is not the one who never feels uncertainty. I really wish I could tell you that you'll never feel uncertain about money again. That's not life. Whether you have $10 in your bank account or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000, 100,000, a million, a billion, there will always be uncertainty in the future. Always. I was just speaking with a client who has millions of dollars, and she is working through uncertainty right now. There's always a budget. There's always something unexpected happening in the world. There's always something that is going to come in and agitate what's happening around you. For you to be the version of you that has a stable, consistent money flow, it's not about not having uncertainty. It's about not disappearing when that uncertainty shows up. Right? All right. So this has been a lovely conversation. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are. How do you show up when there's discomfort? How do you choose to stay in relationship? Or what knocks you out of that relationship? I'm super curious, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, everybody, until next time, take good care.